Jesse Hutch, great to have you here on See Hear Love.
Thanks for having me.
Did you just pause like that awkwardly?
I just wanted to see what you do.
I know, that was awesome. I love that. Considering you are an actor, that was perfect, that sort of pregnant pause. Hallmark Lifetime movies, a stuntman, a dad, and a husband. You're busy.
Yes, there's always something to do. Even if I plan and do nothing, my wife and I are running around a lot.
So how do you make time to do all of these like movies, new movies, Christmas movies, all that kind of stuff?
Well, because that's my work, whenever work calls, we kind of just work with it.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and plan our life, right? The kids got swimming lessons, my wife's going to this, I got that, et cetera, et cetera. And then if I book a job, all of a sudden, plans all shift and change. Everything's over.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very interesting career. You never call in sick if you want to. Too bad. You don't have that choice. You're contracted.
I don't think I'm going to go into that at all. I want to call in sick once in a while.
Yeah? No, you can't.
No.
You can't.
How did you get into it? How did you get into acting? Did you always want to be an actor?
No. Actually, I was a whitewater raft guide, actually.
Come on.
Yep. Full on.
I loved it. I've only done it once, and I loved it. I fell overboard. Thought I was going to die.
Absolutely. Everybody thinks they're going to die.
And they're like, no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, we're always like, no, it's so bad. It's going to be horrible. We're like, it's so calm.
Yeah, it's so calm. Just put your knees up and just go with it. So you thought you were going to be a whitewater raft?
Yeah, I thought I was going to grow a beard and just live in the bush my whole life. And then you know what? I just really felt, man, God put it on my heart. It was literally, I was working one day, I heard this ad on a radio that was like, hey, you come to this thing and you can maybe meet a casting director from 20th Century Fox. Now
And you believed it?
I always loved watching movies.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been a movie watcher.
Okay.
Ever since I was I think the first film I ever watched was The Hobbit, the like hand-drawn animated version that came out in like 1985 maybe.
Wow.
And so ever since then, I was always interested in watching film. And then this ad comes on the radio, and so I would be a whitewater raft guide all day, and then at night I'd go and I'd work in the kitchen for like another 6 hours just to make more money, because they don't pay you a lot of money to keep people alive, funny enough. And so this ad came on, I was like, I like 20th Century Fox, and I was like, turn to my buddy and I'm like, hey John, I'm like, can I borrow your car? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, we just started our shift. I was like, I gotta borrow your car and drive to the nearest big city. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm out. And I just left. I didn't even tell my boss, I just left. And I went to this thing, and sort of that was kind of the beginning. It was like slowly started to build an avenue and doors open and confidence built within me, and you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I ended up moving to the West Coast, and then I just started pursuing film.
What was your first show you ever did?
The first show I ever did was called Dark Angel.
Wow.
It was James Cameron created the series, and I played like a merman. Yeah, not even lying. This is no Zoolander joke. I had gills, they opened and closed, and water like came out. And honestly, that was my first job. And I worked with Jessica Alba on that, and Jensen Ackles. And Jensen is on Supernatural, and I just worked on Supernatural, and he brought up a picture of him and I on that set. I was like, that was my first job ever. Amazing. And we look like we're like 11. And man, yeah, it's been almost 20 years now, I guess.
Wow. Like I said, you started as like a child actor, pretty much.
Well, I was 21.
I'm saying that's a compliment. I was trying to give you a compliment.
You know what?
Child actor.
I actually enjoy growing old.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it.
That's good. I think I need to hear that more, because I think, and I don't know if it's a man-woman thing, but I mean, I always have to kind of fight against it, especially being in media and being in what I do. The age part really comes up a lot.
No, absolutely.
You know, it's really hard because you know that as you get older, there's a ton of people behind wanting your job, and you realize as you look into the camera, your face changes and things change. And so there's always that honestly, that Jesse, I have to kind of fight against every time I get it. I go on like the air.
No, there's an aspect of, especially in North America, our social media and even film and television, what I work in, you're constantly bombarded with these images of what you should look like and how you should dress and what you should eat. And that's crazy. There's an aspect of it that really puts pressure on a lot of people. Like you said, you know, you start looking at yourself, you're wondering should I look that way? Do I look too old, too young, too tall, too short? And next thing you know, you're caught up in your head dealing with things that are a very small world. Yeah. And I think faith actually opens your world.
Yeah.
And it allows you to find a peace about those things. I hope, not
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
But then there's an aspect where you go, you know what? I am who I am. This is what God made me. I got one tooth falling out or whatever. It's going crooked. You're getting crow's feet. Like whatever happens, right? There's this aspect that my kids have been teaching me, which is live in the moment and be where you are.
That's awesome.
And as a dad, that's been one of my biggest challenges is don't let my head be at work. Don't let my head be in that next meeting. Don't get caught up in that. I got to do this on Instagram because you got to feed the beast, you know. And just be present with my kids or be present with my wife when I'm with her and be there, you know. Don't be somewhere else. Be here.
Yeah.
You know, here we are. We're right here.
Yeah.
You know, so forget everything else that we each have to
present.
do. And be present is, I think, a lesson that we all need to remind each other of. And
It's good. It's good. Now you talked about faith, and I think that's awesome that you follow Jesus, and so how does that work out in sort of this whole, like, people have this idea of Hollywood and movies. How do you balance that out? Because what I hear is that there's the pursuit of the perfection and the money and the negotiations and the drive, and yet that can, I'm sure, cause tension sometimes with your faith and being present and following Jesus in a really true and authentic way.
that's a big can of worms.
It is, and we have like all night.
And we
No,
have
we don't.
30
No, we don't. We
seconds.
literally have 30 seconds.
You know what? I think that you need a base to operate from, no matter what you do. Whether you're in the film industry or you're a plumber or you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a lawyer, it doesn't matter. You need a basis to operate from, and so for my wife and I, it's faith. That's where we go to. We go to that to find out what we're going to do with our money, how we're going to run our marriage, how we're going to raise our kids, how do I handle social media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because there's not a lot of good leaders out there, and that's just the fact. And so, who am I gonna follow, right? You have to answer that question. And for me, I follow Scripture. I follow the Word of God. I follow Jesus Christ. That's important to me, and I use that a lot. And so that does help when it comes time to, do I do this job? Do I not do this job?
Right.
You know, there's politics. This business is like a piece of pie. I love metaphors, so here we go. Piece of pie. Every slice is a little piece. You got financial, you got creative, there's business, there's political, there's all these little pieces, and then there's the whole thing. And sometimes you got to look at the whole thing. Sometimes you really got to break it down and get nitpicky into that one piece. Yeah. And it's important to examine those things, you know. So it comes down to, like you mentioned, you got Lifetime movies, Hallmark. You know, are you working for HBO? HBO is going to be a different show than Hallmark. Yeah. I mean, there are two completely different ends of the spectrum. One is not wrong, just different. But then where do you stand? Where do I stand? What will I do? What will I not do? What are my wife's convictions? How do I take into account what she cares about? Because sometimes I might not even think of something, and then she's like, "Hey, have you thought of this?" And I'm like, "No, let's sit down and think about that." Yeah. You know, we have to work together.
And Jesse, I like that because I love how you're bringing in your wife in decision making. I think that's really key. No, I think that's really key because sometimes even in a marriage, you make decisions just based on you, and you don't actually like talk to your spouse and say, "Hey, how does this impact us as a family and in our relationship?" I think it's beautiful.
I mean, literally last night, my wife and I were sitting there and we were talking, and the kids were playing. It was after dinner, and we honestly said, "Look, we need to keep fighting for this time, even 15 minutes, to just debrief, talk, throw ideas at each other." It's so key, and that's how we operate, especially in the film industry, right? I mean, a lot of people approach and want to talk to her and go right out of the gate, and it's usually women who are Christian. They're like, I saw that Hallmark movie. I loved it, by the way. It was so good. Oh, it was but like, your husband had to kiss someone else. Like, when was that? Like,
really?
You know, and it's like,
you get that?
Oh, she does.
She gets that. Okay,
she'll get it more often than I do, I think.
Yeah.
And so, you know, her and I have had to navigate. I mean, we've been married 10 years now. She married into this business. She's not from the film industry, thank God. And there's an aspect that we had to grow together and learn together. And so for us, we got to pray. We got to be on the same page. Yeah. There's also my convictions. What do I not want to do? Like nudity's off the. It's not an option. It's not going to happen. Hallmark, Lifetime, all those movies, there's always one kiss, at least one,
There's always
at
a
the
kiss
end,
at the end.
when and it's got to be snowing.
Yeah, or like I said, twinkle lights.
There's got to be twinkle
bridge.
lights or snowing, absolutely, and it's got to be cold. But it's not really cold, but like it's got to look cold, but don't make it so cold that the viewers feel cold.
Like really feel cold, right? So it's kind of like in the middle.
Yeah, and so, that's something that we've had to learn how to navigate is, how do we live in this world, but not be of it, so to speak?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Does that make
totally
any
get it.
sense?
Yeah.
And so yeah, her and I think we're constantly growing and building in that area, but you have to have lines of defense. So for me, her and I are, first, there's her and I. We don't let anyone else's opinion in between that. Not our family, not our friends, not the strangers, not the articles. And we need to know where we stand with our faith, God, us, A three-chord strand is not easily broken.
Good.
So her, me, God, three. That's got to be tight. Then from there, her and I have to communicate. You got to talk. So we have to talk about what I will or will not do. And I mean, at this point in our marriage, we already know that. We don't have to discuss this anymore. If a script comes across the table and there's a rape scene, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
If there's a love scene, I'm not going to do it. Now, I also will not completely disregard a script because it has one scene in it. If I'm interested in this as a genuine good story and I go, wow, there's something here, there's something worth fighting for here, then what I am willing to do is see if they're willing to fight to have me in this film. Then if we get to that point, because I mean, there's still 8 million people auditioning for this, there's a whole bunch of levels of politics. If we get to the point where they're going, hey, we want to hire you, and I go, hey, I like your script, then we can sit down, we can have a coffee, and I can go, hey, there's one scene here. How do you feel about cutting that out?
Oh, wow. So you can actually negotiate back.
Nobody said you can't.
Right.
But there is this stigma in the film industry that you need to do whatever everybody says or else you're not going to work. You're not going to make it. Yeah, agents can say that. Publicists can say that. Producers can say that. And they're not bad people. I mean, these aren't all bad people, you know what I mean? There's a lot of good people in this industry. But there is this kind of heaviness that sits on people that is like, well, if you want a career, like, you better take your shirt off. And you're like, why? Like, what? Then go hire that guy because he likes taking his shirt off. Yeah. You know, there's always someone else. Like I kind of use the movie, like a movie that's really out there, like Wolf of Wall Street, for example. It's based on a guy's true story. It's based on real life. I mean, he's doing things that are crazy, right? And I'm going, okay, Leonardo DiCaprio. I saw that movie once and I was like, whoa, okay, I'm never watching that again. That was crazy and a little too intense for me. But I will have to say this. I got to say that there are movies like that, and there's people that are going to tell those stories, and I'm okay with telling someone that I'm not your Leonardo DiCaprio for this. I'm not the guy to tell this story for you. Right. I'm not trying to compare myself to Leo, by the way, because
I was actually thinking that
Leo crushes it.
You and Leo,
so
or Leo and you, and
He's
I
so
thought they were doing that.
No, not at all.
Totally joking.
I'd work with him though.
Yeah. Is that your kind of shout out? Leo, Jesse would love to work with you.
Actually, I'd love to, if I had to do a shout out right now, it'd be to Matt Damon or Christian Bale.
Oh, for a Ford versus
I just
Ferrari?
saw Ford v Ferrari and it was phenomenal.
Okay. We totally just did a little plug for the movie.
It was so good. Well, okay, but check this. I mean, this is, so People Magazine, just this week's, it's got John Legend on the cover, Sexiest Man Alive.
Sexiest, yeah. And Chrissy Teigen said a
so
little
there's,
bit about him,
inside it says Ford v Ferrari and it's like people's top picks, right? And that's the major poster, and then there's A Very Vintage Christmas, which is my Christmas movie, right beside it. And I'm like, I'm like, this is the closest I've ever been to working with Christian Bale and Matt Damon.
High five for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, People Magazine.
So I actually did a shout out and I started my own hashtag. I want to challenge Matt Damon and Christian Bale to watch my movie now because I watched theirs. So, hey, if Matt Damon or Christian Bale are watching this, feel free to watch A Very Vintage Christmas on Lifetime this Wednesday. But I need proof that you watched it.
You're literally using my show
to start
pitching. I love that. I love that.
But your editors can cut anything of me out.
No, I'm going to keep that in. That was good. All right, last thought, Jesse. I think for a young person, you know, who's Christian or really has strong morals and values in what you're saying, who's kind of getting into this whole industry, what would you say to them to encourage them to say as they're starting off this career?
Yeah.
Because you're like a mentor to them, right? So they're looking at you going, okay, what's the best advice?
I really enjoy talking to people who are just getting into this business, no matter how old they are. Because there's some lessons that I learned, I think I learned it the hard way, where it was like most experience, you go through it, then you realize you went through it, then you learn from it, and you're like, oh, that hurt a lot, and I made some mistakes, and maybe it was embarrassing, or maybe you're like, wow, I can't believe that I went down that road for a bit. But I think what I have to tell people is it's really important for you to find out who you are and what you believe. Because the business will tell you. If you don't know, they'll tell you. You'll get on set and they'll tell you what you're comfortable doing and what you're not comfortable doing. They'll tell you what to say and what not to say. So even the script, right? Like I don't want to take the Lord's name in vain. I just don't. And I remember there was one instance, it's okay to stand up for yourself. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be a jerk. I mean, you can be a normal, grounded human being and talk to someone and go, hey, I just don't feel comfortable with this. Like but you have to know those things before you sign up sometimes. And with television series work, you don't know. Because you do the pilot, let's say you get onto the show, you don't know what episode 3 is going to have. You don't know what season 2 is going to have.
Yeah, I never thought of that, yeah.
If it's a movie, it's pretty open and shut case. You're like, okay, here's the script, here's everything that's in it, and there's probably not going to be a huge change. But if you sign up for a series and it's HBO, I mean, you got to know that there's going to be some crazy stuff coming at you. Yeah. It's okay to talk those things out. It's okay to say no to something that you're not comfortable with. You need mentors in your life. You need someone that you can really, really, really trust. Not someone who jumps on the bandwagon and says, yeah, let's all agree.
As a yes person, I always just
no yes people. Yeah. I mean, that was a great movie with Jim Carrey, but what you really need is someone, like I have 2 men's groups that I'm a part of. One of them is a lot of older men, and the other one is a very small group of us, and we get into each other's lives, like deep. Like there's no hidden compartment, right? And we're very respectful of one another. But those are the guys that I say, hey, if you see me doing something in my marriage, if you see me doing something in business, if you see me wavering or doing things that you're like, hey, that's not you, man. Like, what are you doing? Or they have permission to, backhand me or chop me in the throat or sit me down and talk to me. And I think you need that. So to boil that down, you need people in your life who will talk into your life and be honest and real with you. It's okay to speak and voice your opinion. Yeah, it's good. And you need to know where you stand and what you believe in. And it's okay to learn that as you go. Some things you're not prepared for. You're not going to learn it all right away. But I'd say nudity, you got to pick it. What you're going to say, you got to pick it. What movies you don't want to do, go ahead and pick that. You can do that stuff now. Yeah. But I had someone once ask me, like, this is all seriousness in the room. Would you make out with a horse?
No, come on.
Like full on. And I was like, I kind of laughed. I was like, what? I was like, you're just joking, right? They're like, no, it's going to be in the script. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, kind of put me on the spot here, but no. Like, no, I'm sorry. So some things you can't prepare for. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know that was a question. I didn't know anyone would ever ask me that. Yeah.
But it was asked, and you have to be like, no.
It was asked, yeah. And it's okay. I mean, as long as you're a human being. But again, faith comes first. Like, this business is not me. And you mentioned fame, money. I mean, I think I have a lot more distance to cover in my career yet, and I have a lot more goals that I'd like to reach, and I think that those are side effects. Yeah. So if you're in a magazine, if there's going to be interviews, if you end up on some talk show that you've always wanted to do for decades, I mean, who knows? There's things that can come along that I think are side effects, but that's all they should remain. It shouldn't be your goal. No.
I think it's about faith and people. I think, in all my life and all the things I've done, Jesse, that there's a lot of stuff like I was, like striving after and trying to pursue, but at the end of the day, it's about people, relationship. And for me, definitely, as I follow Jesus, my faith is first and foremost the most important.
Yeah, and you'll be better in every area of your life if you do that. Yeah. People are like, hey, how do I be a better actor? I said, how long have you been dating that girl? Oh, like 5 years. Get married. Commit your life to her. Yeah. Pursue her. Yeah. Make it about her. Have kids. Make it about them. Yeah. Don't make it about you and your career and people get mad right away. What do you mean? I want my career. Yes, you'll have your career and you can pursue those things wholeheartedly, but you can't love your dreams so much that you squeeze the life out of it. Right. Because if that's your everything, it'll become nothing. Yeah. Absolutely, you'll kill it.
Well, I'm excited for your future and all the great movies, and I hope you meet Christian Bale and Matt Damon. I really do. That'd be awesome. That'd be so great. Jesse Hutch, thank you so much, and we'll be cheering you on and praying for you as you mentor and you lead and influence in the spaces that you are.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Awesome.